The news bulletins interrupted every television program, every radio channel, every online stream. People in Tashkent stopped mid-conversation, staring at their screens as the announcer repeated the same trembling words. Karim Rakhmatov, Uzbekistan's most beloved public figure, has been found dead under unclear circumstances. Cars slowed on the highways. Shopkeepers stepped out onto sidewalks, confused, shaken. It was as if the entire nation inhaled and forgot how to breathe. Malika Yunusova stood behind the police line, notebook in hand, watching the officers move in and out of Karim's elegant but strangely quiet home. She wasn't just reporting a story, she felt as though she had lost someone personal. Karim belonged to the people, and his absence felt like a hole in the country's chest. A paramedic pulled the body stretcher toward the waiting ambulance. The white sheet covering Karim fluttered slightly in the cold breeze. As it passed Malika, she caught a glimpse beneath the edge, faint bruises around the wrist, almost hidden, but unmistakably there. Her journalist instinct sharpened instantly. The chief inspector stepped out of the house, wiping sweat from his forehead despite the winter chill. Natural causes, he declared to the reporters, forcing a calm smile. Heart failure. No foul play. But Malika noticed how he avoided eye contact, how his voice wavered, how his hands trembled as he lit a cigarette. A young officer, clearly new to the job, accidentally leaned too close to Malika and whispered under his breath, "This isn't right." Something happened inside. Before Malika could ask more, the officer's superior barked at him to step away. The crowd of citizens behind the tape grew larger, some crying, others filming. Karim had been more than a celebrity, he was hope for many, a man who quietly paid medical bills, built wells, and supported struggling families. People trusted him more than they trusted officials. Malika's phone buzzed with messages from her editor, demanding updates, pushing for a headline, but she couldn't think of the story yet. She was focused on the bruises, the nervous police, the inconsistencies. She moved closer to the gate, scanning the yard. That's when she noticed a security camera mounted above the entrance, its lens shattered, wires hanging loose. Someone had destroyed it deliberately. A cold shiver ran down her spine. Malika arrived at Karim's sister's apartment just as the sun dipped behind the rooftops of Tashkent. The curtains were drawn, and the room smelled faintly of lavender tea and fear. Rano sat on the couch wrapped in a shawl, her eyes red from crying. She didn't rush to greet Malika, instead, she stared at the floor as though searching for strength hidden in the carpet threads. "Thank you for coming," Rano whispered, her voice raw. I can't talk to the police. They don't want the truth." Malika sat beside her gently. "Tell me everything you know." Rano hesitated, glancing toward the closed door as if expecting someone to burst in. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice to almost a breath. "Karim was scared. Not openly, you know how strong he always acted, but I could feel it. He kept saying he was being watched." Malika felt her pulse quicken. "Watched by who?" "I don't know," Rano whispered. "But he told me something terrible was happening behind the scenes. Donations disappearing. Projects being sabotaged. People warning him to stop asking questions." Tears spilled down her cheeks. He didn't listen. He never could ignore injustice. She wiped her eyes and stood slowly, walking to the cabinet near the wall. With shaking hands, she pulled out a small wooden box. "2 weeks ago," she said, "he gave me this and told me, if anything happens to me, give it to someone who still believes in the truth. And that person is you." Inside the box was a small, black flash drive. It looked harmless, ordinary, yet Malika felt a weight settle in her chest as she held it. The surface was scratched, as though Karim had carried it everywhere, keeping it close. "He said I should never open it," Rano continued. "He said it was dangerous." Malika slipped the drive into her pocket. "I'll be careful. I promise." But as she rose to leave, Rano grabbed her wrist. "Please, if you find anything, anything at all, tell me. I need to know why my brother died. I need to know he didn't die for nothing." Malika nodded, though a knot of dread formed inside her. The truth was already drawing blood. Later that night, sitting in her dim apartment with only a desk lamp illuminating her laptop, Malika inserted the flash drive. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a folder appeared. "Open only if you are ready." Her hands trembled slightly as she clicked it. Video files, documents, encrypted archives, and one voice memo. She pressed play. Kareem's voice filled the room, tired, strained, so unlike the energetic public figure the world adored. If you're hearing this, they finally came for me. Malika stopped breathing. Kareem continued, his tone heavier with each word. I found something I shouldn't have. Something that will tear this country apart if it gets out. But the people deserve the truth. No matter the cost. The recording ended with a soft click. A long, suffocating silence filled the room. Malika stared at the screen, her reflection trembling in the dark glass. She knew now, Kareem hadn't just died. He had been silenced. Malika barely slept that night. Her apartment, normally a quiet refuge, felt suffocating. Shadows stretched across the walls, and every creak of the building made her jump. The flash drive, now lying on her desk like a ticking time bomb, seemed to pulse in the dim light. She knew she couldn't handle decoding it alone. The next morning, she took a cab across the city to meet Timur, a cybersecurity specialist known for breaking some of the toughest encryptions in the region. His office was tucked away above a nondescript electronics shop, a place no one would suspect held secrets that could shake the nation. Timur greeted her with a cautious nod, his sharp eyes scanning the flash drive as if it could speak. "Where did you get this?" he asked, already aware it wasn't a routine leak. I got it from Kareem Rakhmatov's sister," Malika said, lowering her voice. "He said it would explain why he died." Timur's expression hardened. "You have no idea what you're holding. This could destroy powerful people." Malika placed the drive on his desk. "I have to know. He trusted me to find the truth." Timur sighed, removed his glasses, and plugged the flash drive into his laptop. Lines of encrypted code scrolled across the screen, filling the room with a green glow. It was a complex system. Kareem had clearly been meticulous, knowing someone might try to destroy the evidence. Hours passed. Timur muttered under his breath, typing furiously. Then his fingers froze. He leaned back in his chair, his face pale. "Malika, you're not going to like this." "What is it?" she asked, leaning in. Timur turned the laptop so she could see. The files contained thousands of documents, bank transfers, secret contracts, emails, and recordings. They exposed a vast corruption network siphoning humanitarian funds meant for impoverished regions. Hospitals, schools, villages, the money had vanished into hidden accounts controlled by businessmen and officials, with one figure referred to only as the Shadow. Malika's hands shook. The Shadow. Timur nodded grimly. The person Kareem warned about. Whoever this is, they have influence. Everywhere. Military, police, politics. Kareem's investigation alone could have killed him. Then she noticed a small folder labeled Voice Memos 12/2025. She clicked it. Kareem's voice, tired and fearful, filled the room. "If you're hearing this, they finally came for me. I don't know if I'll survive, but the people must know. The Shadow is everywhere. Trust no one completely. Take this, and finish what I started." Malika felt her stomach turn. She had known Kareem was brave, but hearing his fear so plainly was chilling. Before she could react, the office door rattled. A shadow flickered across the window blinds. Malika froze, realizing they were being watched. Someone knew she had the files. Timur's hands flew over the keyboard, encrypting backups. "We need to move this somewhere safe. Now, before they come for you, for both of us." Malika nodded, her heart pounding. Outside, the city moved as usual, oblivious to the storm brewing just beneath its surface. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. The moment she decided to reveal Kareem's secret, nothing would ever be the same. Malika and Timur didn't go back to her apartment that night. Instead, they navigated through the narrow backstreets of Tashkent, taking a circuitous route that avoided main roads and surveillance cameras. Every passing car, every distant footstep, made Malika's nerves tighten. She couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were following them, tracking their every move. They finally stopped at an unmarked building on the outskirts of the city. The paint was peeling, the windows dusty, but inside it was a small cyber lab hidden beneath layers of steel doors and firewalls. Timur quickly uploaded all the decrypted files to a secure server, each click echoing like a gunshot in the silent room. "I don't understand how Kareem managed to compile all this without anyone noticing," Malika whispered, scanning the documents. "These files, they're explosive. Names, amounts, dates, even audio recordings of conversations between corrupt officials." Timur shook his head. He was careful. Kareem had contacts, people who believed in him, people who helped him dig deeper. But now that he's gone, the danger isn't just for him anymore. It's for us. Malika's phone buzzed. A notification. She froze. There was a new message, no number, no name, just a single line: "Stop digging, or you'll join him." Her pulse raced. Whoever sent this was watching, waiting, and they knew exactly what she was doing. Timur looked grim. They can track phones, computers, even bank accounts. The moment we leave, we're exposed. Malika swallowed hard. Then we need to be smarter. We need to stay ahead. They spent the night dividing files, encrypting sensitive evidence into multiple drives, each hidden in different locations. But Malika couldn't relax. Her mind kept drifting back to Kareem, to the bruises she had seen on his wrist, to the fear in his voice recording. How many people wanted him dead? And how many were willing to kill again to keep the truth buried? Before dawn, Malika decided to leave the lab for a short walk. She needed air. As she turned a corner, she noticed a black SUV parked at the intersection, engine idling. Two men inside scanned the street, their eyes cold and calculating. Her stomach dropped. They had found her. She ducked into a small tea house, hiding behind the counter as the SUV slowly drove past. The tea house owner, an old man with deep-set eyes, watched her trembling. "You're looking for Kareem's truth, aren't you?" he asked quietly. "You're not the first, and you won't be the last. But be careful. Those who protected the lie have power beyond what you imagine." Malika nodded, gripping the encrypted drives closer to her chest. The weight of responsibility pressed down like a stone, heavier than any fear she had felt. This wasn't just a story anymore. It was a battle, and the enemy was already closing in. The message came late at night, just as Malika was finally trying to rest. Her phone buzzed violently on the desk, illuminating her darkened apartment with a cold, blue glow. She hesitated before unlocking it, a chill crawling up her spine. On the screen was a video file, labeled only, "Watch Now." Her hands trembled as she tapped it open. The footage was shaky, grainy, but unmistakable. Timur. He was bound to a chair in a dimly lit basement, his face pale, his eyes wide with fear. His voice cracked as he spoke. They'll kill me if you don't stop," he stammered. A distorted voice echoed from somewhere off camera, mechanical and terrifying. "Stop searching for the truth, or he dies." Malika felt her stomach twist. Her heart pounded so violently she thought it might burst. She clenched her fists, gripping Kareem's flash drive like it was a lifeline. She had promised herself she would reveal the truth, and now the cost was real. Timur's life hung in the balance. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she swallowed them. Fear was a luxury she couldn't afford. She replayed the video, studying the room, the shadows, the faint marks on the walls. There was a small vent near the floor, a narrow pipe running along one corner, and a faint hum of machinery. If she could trace the signal, she might be able to locate him. Malika grabbed her laptop and started mapping connections, tracing IP addresses, cross-referencing data from Kareem's encrypted files. Every step was painstaking, but every second mattered. The distorted voice repeated in her mind, "Stop, or he dies." Her phone buzzed again, another anonymous text, "Do you want him dead?" Malika froze, then typed back simply, "I will finish this." No one dies in silence anymore. A fire ignited inside her, a mix of rage and determination. She would not be intimidated. She had seen the truth, held it in her hands, and she knew what Kareem had risked his life for. She would honor him, and save Timur. By dawn, Malika had traced the signal to a hidden warehouse on the outskirts of Tashkent. She didn't wait for police or backup, every second counted. With Kareem's files encrypted and her evidence ready to be exposed to the public, she grabbed a bag, hid the flash drive close to her chest, and stepped into the cold morning air. The hunt had begun. She was no longer just a journalist. She was the last hope for those silenced, and the shadow had just realized she was coming. Malika whispered under her breath as she moved toward the warehouse, her eyes steely, "I will expose the truth. No matter the cost." The city slept, unaware that the most dangerous chase in its history had already begun.